Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. If you have not been down to watch a football match, soccer match, whatever you'd like to call it, it's just so exciting. The support has been absolutely amazing. The audiences have been amazing. And of course, the product on the field has been fantastic as well. I'm talking about Atlético Ottawa here to tell us more about this season. I'm joined by the Manager of Media Relations and Communications and Community Development, Thomas Stockting. Welcome to the show, Thomas.
Thank you very much.
That's a heck of a title, Thomas.
I know. Well, like any business in its first 5 years, no matter how glamorous and shiny it is on the outside, you've got to pull your fair amount of weight on the back end to make sure it succeeds.
I hear you. Let's talk about a little bit about the history and how Atlético Ottawa came to be.
So Atlético Ottawa, as the name would kind of indicate, is owned by Atlético de Madrid, one of the top teams in Spain. They're actually second in the Spanish league at the moment, although just ceded the title to Barcelona, unfortunately.
Okay.
But one of the biggest global franchises and names that you can affiliate with the game of soccer, especially in Europe. And the CPL, the Canadian Premier League, kicked off in 2019, and there was a gap in the market after the Fury unfortunately folded, the former soccer team that was playing here in the capital. And Atlético de Madrid saw an opportunity to come into what is fundamentally an untapped soccer market here in the Great White North. We all know Canadians are fantastic athletes, so can we convert them into some fantastic soccer players as well?
It's interesting because, as you said, Madrid, I mean, it's world renowned, and to think that they looked at Ottawa, I mean, pretty flattering for this community that they would look and see a great opportunity here, Thomas.
I think they liked the sort of ties and parallels, and they've been sort of expanding around the world as well. Atlético de San Luis down play in the top division in Mexico, and I think they just really liked that tie of capital to capital and being able, as I said, to get into a market that hadn't quite been tapped yet. I mean, we see players like Alphonso Davies and even closer to home, Jonathan David come from Ottawa himself and now tearing it up in the top French division as well at the moment. And just saw an exciting opportunity to really get in at a ground level. Unfortunately, that birth at the beginning of 2020, as we all very well know and are probably tired of talking about and hearing about at this point, coincided with the start of the pandemic as well. So the business was put on a back foot pretty early on in its infancy, but going strong, and last year I think really exemplified that.
Well, let's talk about last year. Yeah, I mean, wow, what an exciting year and an incredible accomplishment, right?
Yeah, I mean, stunning on and off the field, right? The club grew throughout the community, and what was fundamentally the first year where we could get back out and do some things face to face and in person again, right? So even though we weren't quite sure whether it would be like that all year, so there was a little bit of hesitancy, let's say, but we went from last place the year before to winning the regular season, which if you follow soccer around the world, the table at the end of the regular season is most people classify as champions, right? So we came top after 28 games, which was a fantastic feat by the team, the club, the behind the scenes, as well as the new head coach Carlos Gonzalez, who's stayed with us this year as well. And then having a successful playoff run, as I live in Canada longer, I'm in my 4th year in the nation's capital now, the more I come to understand the love and the passion for playoff series, les séries éliminatoires, right? So and like the kind of different game that comes with it, and to have that successful playoff run. And because we topped the league, we got to host, and 15,000 paid tickets at TD Place for a soccer game. If you told me that 3 years ago, I would not have believed you. No.
Yeah, tell me about that community support. I mean, people must, there was an appetite for it, obviously, just from that fan experience. What an incredible experience.
Yeah, and look, Ottawa's blessed to have so many successful sports teams as well, right? The Red Blacks have a storied history. We've got the Sens, obviously, here as well, fantastic NHL franchise, and then Blackjack starting up on the basketball front. We've got Titans in baseball, and let's not forget 67s in the OHL who had a fantastic run this year as well. And we're just really fortunate to be able to tap into maybe a different element of the marketplace. People that might look at soccer as their number one sport. They have a team that they like in Spain, France, England, even down Brazil, South America, that kind of thing, and being able to try and offer them a real concrete, professional and polished product here in their own back garden. But also the great thing about it is that it's not always polished, and there's a real beauty beauty and a romance. I mean, everyone probably knows of the story of Ryan Reynolds buying Wrexham in the fifth division of English football at the moment. They just won their promotion up into what is considered the professional leagues, the top 4 leagues in England. And, you know, I love that sort of storied romance to it, and people are falling into that. And that's kind of what we have here, an opportunity to really give a platform for local Canadian players to, you know, cut their teeth in professional soccer without having to go off and move away from their families at 18, 19 to go play 3rd division Norway or something like that, which, you know, fantastic league, great level unto itself. But, you know, if you have an opportunity to do it in front of your friends and family in your own backyard, you're going to pick that, aren't you?
Oh, of course. And you mentioned, you know, during the break that we're seeing some turnover this year. And I guess success often can lead to that kind of thing. Tell me about this year's club.
So as you said, last year was fantastic. We had some players move on. Balu Tabla in particular, one of the standout players from the league last year, moved off to 2nd division in Turkey, and he's doing phenomenally well at the moment, and something we love to see as a club. But as you say, you know, a newer league, we've got quite a lot of turnover, so we've brought in a lot of new players, and, you know, we're not where we want to be in the table at the moment, but the performances have kind of been there in a lot of games. You know, we fell down in a couple, and a couple of ties here and there that, you know, you look at it, the balance of play, those games come halfway through the season, we win those games, right? So not quite where we want to be at the moment, but the team's improving every day. The guys have incredibly high standards for themselves. You know, we've got some great players, including the MVP from the league last year, still staying with us, tearing it up in midfield. So yeah, it's a great atmosphere in the stadium that is as much generated by the local community as it is by the club. As I said, we're trying to get out there more and get more involved now. Thankfully, we're able to, but, you know, the supporters and the people of Ottawa took it upon themselves to really create that authentic European atmosphere. They don't sit down for 90 minutes in that supporters section. They cheer the whole way through, and you know, there's a real element of authenticity that comes to that. And, you know, I'm addicted to the sport, must admit. But even during the pandemic, when I was watching top English level soccer, without the fans, without the chanting, without hearing them, the buzz that they create in the stadium, it fundamentally changes the sport. And having one of, if not the best, and I'm going to go pro out and say that best CPL fan base here in Ottawa is a tremendous thing for the club.
Oh, absolutely. I love your passion for the game. And I know, you know, we're such a diverse city as well. And so you see that passion at the games. Thanks so much for joining us, Thomas. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having us.
Again, you can visit atleticoottawa.club to find out ticket information. We'll be right back after this.